The Battle of Gaugamela was not merely a clash between two armies. It was a moment where the fate of the ancient world tilted decisively in one direction. On a dusty plain in northern Mesopotamia in 331 BCE, the vastly different visions of power stood face to face. On one side was Alexander of Macedon, a young king barely in his 20s, commanding a compact but disciplined army, hardened by years of campaign. On the other side was Darius III of Persia, ruler of the largest empire the world had ever known, commanding forces drawn from across 3 continents. What happened at Gaugamela did more than decide a battle. It ended the Persian Empire, reshaped global history, and marked the beginning of a new age. To understand Gaugamela, one must first understand the world that produced it. For over 2 centuries before Alexander's arrival, the Achaemenid Persian Empire dominated the ancient world, stretching from the Indus Valley in the east to the Aegean Sea in the west. Persia ruled over dozens of cultures, languages, and peoples. Its kings styled themselves King of Kings, and their power seemed absolute. Through efficient administration, tribute systems, and military might, Persia maintained stability across immense distances. Yet, beneath this vast structure lay vulnerabilities. Persia relied heavily on regional satraps, local governors, who often acted with autonomy. The empire's military, while enormous, was not unified in training or doctrine. Many soldiers were conscripts or levies with limited loyalty to the central throne. Persian strength lay in numbers and resources, not cohesion. Across the Aegean Sea, Macedonia was once considered a peripheral power. Under King Philip II, Alexander's father, that changed dramatically. Philip reformed the Macedonian army, introducing a long pike that transformed infantry combat. He forged a professional force, trained year-round and loyal to the crown. More importantly, he unified Greece under Macedonian leadership. Philip planned to invade Persia, but was assassinated in 330 BCE. His son Alexander inherited the throne amid skepticism. Many believed he was too young to rule, let alone challenge Persia. They underestimated him. Within 2 years, Alexander secured his rule, crushed rebellions in Greece, and crossed into Asia Minor. His campaign against Persia was not merely conquest. It was framed as revenge for Persian invasions of Greece a century earlier, and as a mission to liberate Greek cities under Persian control. Alexander's early victories were decisive. At the Battle of the Granicus River, he defeated Persian at Issus in 333 BCE. He faced Darius III for the first time. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander won, forcing Darius to flee the battlefield. The Persian king's family was captured, an unprecedented humiliation. Yet Persia still stood. Its vast resources allowed Darius to raise another army, larger than any before it. After Issus, Alexander did not immediately pursue Darius. Instead, he secured the eastern Mediterranean, capturing Tyre after a brutal siege, taking Gaza, and entering Egypt as a liberator. There, he was crowned pharaoh and founded the city of Alexandria, a symbol of his vision of a new world blending Greek and Eastern cultures. By 331 BCE, Alexander turned east again. He knew that as long as Darius lived and ruled, the war was not over. Darius chose the battlefield carefully. The plain of Gaugamela, near modern-day Iraq, was wide and flat. Darius ordered it leveled to maximize the effectiveness of his chariots and cavalry. This was not a defensive stand. It was meant to crush Alexander in open battle through sheer force. The Persian army assembled at Gaugamela was enormous. Ancient sources exaggerate its size, claiming hundreds of thousands of men. Modern historians estimate between 90,000 and 200,000 soldiers. It included infantry, cavalry, scythed chariots, and even war elephants. Alexander's army numbered around 40,000 infantry and 7,000 cavalry. On paper, the outcome should have been inevitable. But wars are not decided on paper. Alexander's strength lay in leadership, discipline, and tactical brilliance. His army was composed of Macedonian phalanxes, elite companion cavalry, Greek allies, and specialized troops such as archers and light infantry. They had marched thousands of miles together, fought countless battles, and trusted their king absolutely. On the night before the battle, Darius kept his troops awake, fearing a surprise attack. Alexander, by contrast, allowed his men to rest. When advisors urged a night assault, Alexander refused. He wanted a clear victory in daylight, that would destroy Persian morale completely. At dawn, the two armies faced each other. Darius positioned himself at the center, surrounded by elite guards. His cavalry lined the wings. Scythe chariots were placed at the front, designed to break infantry formations with spinning blades. Alexander took command of the right wing, leading his companion cavalry. The Macedonian phalanx formed the center. Parmenion, an experienced general, commanded the left. As the battle began, Alexander advanced not directly forward, but diagonally to the right. This deliberate maneuver forced the Persian left wing to follow, stretching their lines and creating gaps. Darius attempted to counter by launching cavalry attacks and sending chariots forward. The chariots failed. Macedonian light troops stepped aside, striking the drivers and horses. The chariots passed harmlessly through gaps, neutralized before they could do damage. The Persian cavalry attacked fiercely, especially against Parmenion's left. For a moment, the Macedonian line was in danger. Persian forces even penetrated into the camp. But Alexander saw his moment. As the Persian center shifted to respond to the diagonal advance, a gap opened near Darius. Alexander formed a wedge with his companion cavalry and charged directly at the Persian king. This was the decisive moment. Alexander did not aim to destroy the entire army. He aimed to break its heart. As his cavalry smashed through Persian lines, panic spread. Darius, seeing Alexander approaching, turned and fled. Once again, the Persian king abandoned the field. The sight of their ruler fleeing shattered Persian morale. Units began to collapse. What had been an overwhelming force became a disorganized mass. Alexander faced a choice. He could pursue Darius or turn to aid Parmenion, who was still under pressure. He chose to secure victory first, driving Persian forces from the field before giving chase. By the end of the day, the Persian army was annihilated. The Battle of Gaugamela was over. Its consequences were enormous. Darius fled east, attempting to regroup, but his authority was broken. Within a year, he was betrayed and murdered by his own officers. Alexander honored him as a fallen king, signaling his intention not merely to conquer Persia, but to inherit it. With Darius dead, Alexander became the ruler of the Persian Empire. He captured Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, the ceremonial heart of Persian power. At Persepolis, the palaces were burned, whether as revenge, accident, or symbolic act remains debated. Alexander did not destroy Persia's administrative system. Instead, he adopted it. He kept satraps, respected local customs, and even dressed in Persian royal attire. He encouraged marriages between Macedonians and Persians, including his own. Gaugamela marked the beginning of a new era, the Hellenistic Age. Greek language, culture, and ideas spread across the former Persian Empire, blending with local traditions. Cities founded by Alexander became centers of learning, trade, and power. This fusion shaped the development of the Mediterranean and Near Eastern worlds for centuries. Militarily, Gaugamela became a case study in asymmetric warfare. It demonstrated how superior leadership, discipline, and tactics could overcome overwhelming numbers. Military academies still study Alexander's maneuver as a masterpiece of battlefield command. Psychologically, the battle shattered the myth of Persian invincibility. It showed that empires fall not only when they lose resources, but when they lose belief. Alexander would continue campaigning for years, pushing into Central Asia and India. But Gaugamela was the point of no return. From that day forward, there was no rival empire capable of stopping him. Yet the battle also reveals a deeper truth about history. Alexander won because he understood the nature of power. Darius lost because his empire, though vast, could not act as one. Gaugamela was not just a victory of swords and spears. It was a victory of unity over fragmentation, of leadership over size, of strategy over spectacle. Today, the plain of Gaugamela lies quiet, No monuments mark the spot. No walls stand, but its legacy echoes through history. The fall of Persia reshaped the ancient world. It influenced Rome, Byzantium, and even the foundations of modern Western civilization. All of it traces back to one morning in 331 BC, when a young king from Macedonia challenged the greatest empire on earth. On one